Hello everyone, my dear students, myself Sunil Pawar. Once again, I want to welcome you back for the new session of 10th class science. Okay, I hope so you all are doing well and you are learning properly. Okay, and you are also following the instructions which is given by me and the other teachers too. Okay, so now today, as you know that we are continuing chapter 6, that is the life process, and because of the different topics and the quite vastness of this chapter, we divided into the 5 parts, and today we are taking the 5th part, that is the excretion. Okay, in our previous topic we just learned about the transportation of the material in the animals and plants. Okay, so this is the next part and the final part, the concluding part of this chapter, that is the life processes. Clear? We know that this excretion is very one of the important life processes of the living being. As you know that the literate meaning of excretion is to excrete out, or we can simply say that to eliminate. Okay, you know that in the body, metabolism is one of the most important characteristic feature of the living being. Okay, and according to this one thing, there are 2 type of activities performed basically. One is anabolic activities and second is catabolic activity. So in the anabolic activity there is synthesis of the substances, but what happened with the catabolic activities, some byproducts along with the main product, some byproducts also produces. So these byproducts may be harmful, may be toxic, or not useful, or not harmful. Okay, so those who are not harmful and not useful as well as toxic, their elimination is quite compulsory. Just like, wait, I want to give you one example. Okay, just like in the process of respiration and in the other catabolic processes also, in each and every hydrolysis process, in this one thing, water is produces. Okay, if this excess water is not eliminated out from the body and it will continuously accumulate it in the body, that will be responsible to disturb the other life processes. Clear? And this excessive deposition of this water in the body may cause one defect, that is called as the oedema, that is the fluffiness of the body, the excessive, and it will indirectly influence all the other life processes, all the other activities of the body. So this excretion is the most important one. Clear? Then like that, here with the help of this definition we can make it clear. Excretion is the biological process by which an organism removes harmful metabolic waste from the body. This is the final definition. Simply elimination of what? That is the metabolic waste. Metabolic activities, you know that we discussed earlier, 2 type of activities are there, anabolic and catabolic. So those substances which produces in excess or which is harmful or which is not useful, they need to eliminate out, and that process is performed by this activity, that is called as the excretion. Okay, so therefore excretory system plays most important role in maintaining the relative constancy or the consistency of the body, internal environment, without which life is impossible. So this is the most important function of the excretion, to maintain the consistency, to maintain the constancy of the different processes, to maintain the internal environment constant in nature. Okay, so this significance can be learned with the help of these 5 points. Okay, what is the first one? The removal of excretory substances formed from metabolic activities outside the body. As I told you, because of catabolic activities, so many toxic and not useful substances are produced. So their elimination is quite compulsory and is performed with the help of this excretory system to maintain the homeostasis. Okay, we learned earlier what is the homeostasis? The process of maintenance of the internal environment in accordance of the external steady, the steady state of the body, or the process of maintaining the steady state of the body, that is called as homeostasis. So this this excretory system plays such an important role in maintenance of the homeostasis, and you know that your main excretory organ, kidney, is not only responsible for the excretion of these toxic substances, but it is also plays such an important role in the process of osmoregulation. It is responsible to maintain the balance of water and solute as well as salt in your body. Okay, so your kidney plays two main important roles. One is the excretion and second is the osmoregulatory function. We will discuss later. Okay, next one thing, the maintenance of the concentration of excreted substances in the body. Just by excreting out, it keep its level accordingly. Next one thing, to maintain the structure, pH and osmotic pressure of the body fluids. Okay, maintain the structure. The turgidity of the cell is actually maintained by the volume of the water, and which is maintained by the excretion. Second, the pH value, by the dispersion, by the elimination of the organic and inorganic solute, it also maintains the pH value. And finally, the osmotic pressure of the body fluid. We know that the presence of solutes in the body fluid is responsible to decide the osmotic pressure of the cell, fluid and the body. So it is helpful for maintaining this one thing. Finally, to regulate the acid base balance of the body fluid. Okay, so by maintaining it, sometimes it manages the buffer medium. It also helpful for maintaining the pH value with the help of this acid base maintenance. So you can see that this excretory system is such an important, it plays such an important role whether in the unicellular organism or the multicellular organism, simple one or the complex one, it doesn't matter. Now then here, with the help of this table formation or with this description, we can learn the different excretory organs, different group of organism and their examples also. In the previous class, 9th class, you learn about the diversity of life, in which you learn the different categories of the animals specially. Okay, so we start from the unicellular one, protozoans. All the unicellular organisms kept in this protozoans, and what is their excretory organ? Basically cell membrane and contractile vacuole. Basically they are unicellular in the nature. So only on the basis of the diffusion gradient or the concentration gradient, simply the process of the diffusion, they just perform with the help of the cell membrane. Some advanced technique is also there, like the paramecium, where you find the contractile vacuoles. These contractile vacuoles are responsible to collect the waste material in it. Okay, and then later on, by the process of exocytosis or the process of diffusion, they just eliminate it out. So good example is amoeba and paramecium. Then next one, that is the porifers, the pore bearers. Okay, the good example is cycon or what is it, the sponges. Their body surface is there. You know that these are multicellular in nature, even though they are having the internal cavity too, but their body surface is directly remain in contact with the surrounding. So with the help of the internal surface as well as the external surface, they used to exchange and diffuse out this one thing. So diffusion again. Plateal means the flat worms are there. So here the basic excretory organ is the phlegm cell, Tinea solium, Fasciola, Hepatica and the planarias are the well known example. Okay, these dispersive phlegm cells remain capped in the body, and by the diffusion they perform this one thing. Then the nematodes, thread like animals, they have the rennet cells. Okay, these rennet cells are basically also in the ascaris. In general, this kept in the category of the parasites. Okay, so these parasites are having very less catabolic substances or the very less excretory substance. So a very feeble type of this excretory system is there. Then the annelids. Okay, likewise the good example is earthworm. So they have this nephridia. Okay, it is believed that from this stage only there is the development of the excretory organ, the excretory system. Then now we come to the arthropods, one of the biggest phylum who is existing in the nature. Okay, who include the insecta group. So the Malpighian tubules and the green glands are there. You know that this arthropods consisting the open circulatory system. So with the help of this Malpighian tubules and green glands, they are used to separate out this excretory material from the fluid and then eliminate out from the body. Palemon, house fly and the scorpion, even this cockroach, and these are the good example of this one thing. Then the molluscan, the soft bodied animals, okay, the development of kidney and the renal sac, these are the excretory organ, examples the unio and the sepia. Then the echinodermates, okay, the spine borers or the bearers, okay, they are having this tube feet as well as the body surface from which they can perform the diffusion as well the excretion of this waste material. Asterias, what you call, that is the starfish, it is the best example. Then the chordates, the category to belong by the human beings and all the mammals, all the vertebrates, all the chordates, okay, their excretory organ is the kidney, and we are the best example of this one thing. So this is just a concentrated form of this structures by which you can learn this one thing, okay. Now here you know that excretion, it doesn't mean only the removal of the nitrogenous waste material, okay, but basically when we discuss about the excretion, then always it sounds like this, the elimination of the nitrogenous waste material. But along with this nitrogenous waste material, this respiratory waste products are also there and the solid waste products are also there, okay. So with the help of this slide we can learn that what is this, the metabolic waste which are excreted, this basically can grouped into this three category. One, that is the respiratory waste products, okay, just like the good example is carbon dioxide, and second is the water, okay. So this water is released out along with the this exhaling gases through the lungs, okay. Carbon dioxide is also released out in the form of the expiration, but it also released out in the form of the other compounds, in the form of the bicarbonates, carbonates, as well as in the diffuse form of the plasma too, okay. Now then we come to discuss the nitrogenous waste products, clear. So here we can categorize this 6 nitrogenous waste product which is mainly produces in the animal. So first one, that is the amino acid. You know that the breakdown of protein is responsible to produce this amino acids. Likewise mainly producing the urea and the asterias is there, okay. Now then we come to the second category, that is the ammonia, clear. When there is the deamination, deamination means the breaking down of the compounds and the release of this ammonia from this amino acids, okay, that is the basic component of this organism. And ammonia, you may see this spider and this one thing as well as the other animals too. Then urea, okay, basically urea is less toxic in nature and it is not produces directly, okay. It is actually this ammonia is turns into the urea. Just like in our body, your liver is responsible to convert this ammonia into the less toxic form, that is the urea, okay. Then the uric acid, clear. In some cases, in some categories of the animals, this amino acid is also turns in, this ammonia is also converted into the uric acid, clear. Some reptiles are good example. This is trimethylamine oxide, very few but some are there. Likewise this marine teleost fishes is a special category of the fishes who is responsible to produce this category of the nitrogenous waste material. Then last one, there is the guanine, okay, you know that it is one of the nitrogenous base, and spiders and these are the good example who produces this nitrogenous waste material. And finally there is a solid waste product. As you know that during the process of digestion, the food material who remain undigested is need to eliminate out, and it is performed with the help of the large intestine. There is no any specific other excretory organs are there, okay. So this is the categorization of the excretory substances. But here the mode of type of excretion, okay, or the modes of the type of excretion is dependent on the nature of the nitrogenous waste material, okay. So basically this nitrogenous waste material, these organisms are categorized into 3 specific category. One, that is the ammoniotelic, second is the ureotelic, and third is the uricotelic, okay. the category of the animals, okay, which eliminate of nitrogen takes place chiefly in the form of the ammonia. These are called as the ammonotelic, and this process of excretion is called as ammonotalism. Okay, the good example is protozoans, sponges, annelids, arthropods, amphibians and the reptilians. Okay, so what is the substance? Ammonia. What is the process? That is the ammonotalism. And what are the category? That is the ammonotelic. Next we come to the ureotelic. It sounds that the animals who release out, or the category of the animals who release out their nitrogenous waste material in the form of the urea. Okay, so that is called as ureotelic, and this process or this phenomenon is called as ureotalism. These turtles, men and sharks are the good example, but remember this urea is released out in the form of the dilute form, that is the urine. And finally this uricotelic, the category of the organism who release out their nitrogenous waste material in the form of the uric acid is called as uricotelic. Clear? And mainly the lizards, house lizards and the ground lizard, the cockroaches, snails, snakes and the birds are the good example of this uricotelic one, and this process or this phenomenon is called as uricotalism. So remember, these three categories are there on the basis of modes or types of excretion, which is purely categorized on the basis of the nitrogenous waste material which is eliminated out by them. Okay, now moving forward, here we are discussing about the excretory system of the human beings. Okay, basically this is the system, not only single one, it is the one of the most complicated system of excretion. Clear? In which the main excretory organ is the kidney, and then later on other plays role of as an accessory organs. Clear? So in this human excretory system, first we learn that humans brings in the category of the ureotelic, that means they used to release out the urea. Okay, but remember this urea is not directly produces, this urea is converted from ammonia in the liver. Okay, there is a specific cycle that is called as ornithine arginine cycle, and with the help of a specific enzyme arginase, this ammonia, two molecule of ammonia along with one carbon dioxide converted into urea. Okay, this urea is later releases in the blood. This blood is carried to the kidney, and kidney as a filtering organ separate out this urea from the blood and release out in the dilute form, that is the urine. Okay, so our excretory substance is urine, which basically contains urea. Okay, now so in this one, if we observe that, then basically it consists of kidney, ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. Clear? So we are starting from the kidney. So basically these kidneys are located in the abdominal cavity. Okay, at the dorsal surface of abdominal cavity, either sides of the vertebral column, that means both the two sides of the vertebral column, the left kidney and the right kidney. Clear? This kidneys along with a membranous structure, that is the peritoneum, it remains fixed with the dorsal surface of the abdominal cavity. Okay, in this one you can see that this left kidney is somewhat upper side and right kidney is somewhat lower side, because this change is in the position of the right kidney only to facilitate the position of the liver. Okay, now, and you can also see that on this kidney there is this cone like structure is there. This is not actually the part of kidney, but because it present at the anterior part of the kidney, that's why it is called as adrenal gland. Okay, and they are responsible for releasing of ACTH hormone. Okay, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Okay, now so a pair of kidney is there. You can see that from the outer surface it is convex in nature, and from the inner surface it is concave in nature. Okay, and in this concave surface one extension is there, that is called as the hilum, or fissure like structure which is called as the hilum, in which the renal artery is actually entering there and the renal vein is coming out. Along with this renal vein, this ureter is also coming out. Clear? If you want to learn about the color of the kidney, that is from red to dark brown in nature, it is a bean shape in nature. Okay, then next one thing, its size, its measurement is ranging from 10 centimeter, 6 centimeter, 4 centimeter. That means length 10 centimeter, okay, breadth 6 centimeter, and the thickness is 4 centimeter, and it weighs nearly 150 gram. Okay, and the function of this kidney is not only a sac-like structure. Okay, it is a group of collection of the nephron. This is the functional unit of the kidney, which is called as uriniferous tubules also. Okay, so if you take a longitudinal section of this kidney, then you can see that it has clear-cut two structures, the outer dark one cortex and the inner one medulla, in which you can also see this pyramidal structure in this one thing, that is called as urinary pyramids there only. Clear? And this outer dark surface is the cortex because of the arrangement of the nephron. Okay, this nephrons, its outer part, that means the Bowman capsule, it arranged here. That's why, because of the glomerulus, the capillaries and the blood, this portion is dark and this portion is light in nature. Okay, so remember about this. The two kidneys are there, a pair of kidney, which is the main organ of excretion, then the others are accessory. Now we come to the ureter. You can see that a pair of tubes is just coming out from the hilum part of this kidneys. Okay, and these are just the tubular structure who just carry this urine from kidney to urinary bladder. It is nearly 25 centimeter to 30 centimeter in length. Clear? And they contain the muscles also. They are very thin in nature, and basically they also perform the peristaltic movement. We already discussed this peristaltic movement. It is an involuntary rhythmic contraction expansion of the muscles who is responsible to carry this drop by drop release urine from kidney to urinary bladder in a single direction only. They restrict the backward flow of this fluid there only. Okay, so this is the ureter. Then finally we come to the urinary bladder. It is a sac-like structure which is purely muscular in nature. Okay, and it is responsible to store the urine. Okay, and after a certain period of time, when a particular volume of the urine is stored, then it is released out through this urethral opening outside the body. Here is a sphincter valve is there, which is responsible to release out this urine through this urethral opening. And remember, this valve is involuntary in nature in the earlier phase of the life. Okay, but later on the body learned to control its opening and closing. And this urethra, it is actually the membranous canal which is responsible to bring out this urine from urinary bladder to outside, and always it open along with the genital aperture. Okay, so a common aperture who is responsible to release the gametes as well as the urine. So together we call this aperture as the urinogenital aperture. Okay, so remember, this is the human excretory system. These are the main excretory organs: kidney, this ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. These are the accessory excretory organ who helps or assisting in the elimination of this nitrogenous waste material from the body. Okay, so basically these kidneys are responsible to separate out this nitrogenous waste material, and they are responsible to carry it out from kidney to outside. Okay, now in the next slide we are just discussing about the structure of the nephron. Clear? Just like you know that what is the nephron? Nephron or uriniferous tubules, these are the functional unit of the kidney. Okay, and you know that these basically a kidney contains 1.25 million nephrons. Okay, see that such a huge number is there. Nearly 1.25 million nephrons are present in the kidney. Clear? So it is quite compulsory to learn about the structure of this nephron. So you can see that it is basically divided into this Bowman capsule or Malpighian tubule, which is basically Malpighian body, which is basically contain this glomerulus. Then this tubular structure is there, which is called as PCT, or we can also call it the proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, and here is this tubules again. This is called a DCT, or is called as the distal convoluted tubule, and in which this specific U-shaped structure. It is discovered by a scientist that is named as Henle. So it is called as the Henle's loop, and finally the connecting duct or the collecting duct who collect the urine from this one thing. Clear? So one by one here we are discussing. First one, there is the Bowman capsule. Clear? This Bowman capsule is actually a cup like structure, okay, which basically full of this glomerulus. This glomerulus is also called as the dialysis bag, because it is responsible to filter out the dissolved solute along with the liquid from the blood. Okay, so that's why a process of dialysis actually takes place in this Bowman capsule. So this unit glomerulus is called as that is a dialysis bag. Okay, and this one is actually discovered by a scientist named Malpighi. So that's why it is also called as the Malpighian body, or the Marcello Malpighi was there who discovered this one thing. Clear? So remember, this blood entered in through this one. This is the afferent arteriole and goes out through the efferent arteriole, and in which such a coiled structure is there, that is called as glomerulus. Okay, and what is the function of this one? The function is to filter out the glomerular filtrate, whatever the collected here. Okay, now then we come to the proximal convoluted tubule. The tubular structure which is close to this Bowman capsule is called as proximal convoluted tubule. It is nearly 14 millimeter in length. Okay, and its basic function is reabsorption, passive reabsorption of the solutes and the liquid. Now then the loop of Henle, as I told you, this specific U-shaped structure is called as Henle's loop. It plays such an important role in the process of filtration. So this is the descending limb and this is the ascending limb. It plays a specific role. It is responsible for the formation of isotonic urine. It is responsible to form the hypertonic urine. Then the next one, that is the DCT. This is the distal convoluted tubule. It is responsible for selective, the last part, that is the tubular secretion. Okay, in which the concentration of the urine is decided, and finally here the collecting duct, and these collecting ducts are basically responsible to join with the common collecting duct and release of this urine there only. Okay, so what is the function of the nephron? Nephron is considered as the function unit of the kidney, because whatever the function of kidney, that is the filtration of the urine from the blood is performed, that is because of only this unit. So that's why it is the called as the function unit. It is responsible for elimination of this nitrogenous waste material from this one thing, and responsible for the maintenance of the acid and base balance. The next unit, the most important part of this one, that is the urine formation. Okay, as I told you, the kidneys are responsible for separating this urea from the blood and then release out in the form of the dilute form, that is called as the urine. Basically the human beings are responsible to release this urine. Okay, so this urine formation is in general categorized into this 3 steps. First one, that is the ultrafiltration. Okay, second is or it is also called the glomerular filtration, because what is the site of this ultrafiltration? Glomerulus. Second is the tubular reabsorption. We also called it the selective reabsorption, because not all the substances is reabsorbed. And third one, that is the tubular secretion. Clear? Again, the last part, as I told you, that is the distal connecting convoluted tubule, that is responsible for resecreting the fluid to maintain the concentration of the urine. So that's why it is called a tubular secretion. Okay, so one by one here we are discussing these three stages. So first of all, that is the ultrafiltration or the glomerular filtration. Okay, simply it is called as ultrafiltration because only very microscopic solutes, whether it is organic or inorganic, okay, those who dissolve in the blood plasma is used to separate out with the help of this glomerulus in this Bowman capsule. That's why it is also called as the glomerular filtration. Okay, and you know that what is the filtrate which is collected in this Bowman capsule? That is called as glomerular filtrate, and this unit is called as dialysis bag because the process which perform here, that is called as the dialysis. Okay, so what is the simple dialysis? The dialysis is the process of eliminating out or separating out the unwanted material, that is the dissolved solute from the transporting fluid, and it is responsible to maintain the normal consistency of the blood. Okay, so now here you can see that what happened, this coil structure that is called the glomerulus. So this you can see this one thing, this is the afferent arteriole and this is the efferent arteriole. Afferent who bring blood from the renal artery, and this is the efferent arteriole who carry out it from this glomerulus, and during this one thing it form a coil structure. You can see the difference between the diameter of afferent and efferent. Okay, so it is quite greater than this one thing. Okay, it is quite wider than this one thing. That's why here it generate a force. Okay, it is called as effective filtration force. Okay, effective effective filtration force. Okay, which is responsible to separate out this one thing. So remember, the force is generated by this one thing, that is exactly 75 mmHg here only. Clear? Now then what happened, this wall membrane of this Bowman capsule as well as this membrane of the alveoli, this duct, arteriolar duct, okay, these are responsible to oppose this one by 30 mmHg. Clear? Then later what happened, this narrow, that is called as which one thing, the second part is called the tubular secretion. So this force is there generated and then later is collected here now. So here in this second part is which one thing, that is the selective reabsorption. Don't call it only the reabsorption. Okay, as I told you, there is importance of which one, that is the glomerular filtrate. This glomerular filtrate is not only consisting waste material, but it also consisting useful substances too. Okay, just like that, glucose is there, amino acid is there, water is there, sodium is there, chloride ions is there, sodium chloride is there, salt is there. Okay, along with this one thing, uric acid is there, ammonia is there. Okay, and other one, water is the main constituent. Okay, as well the other substances too, which is not useful in the body and which is micro in nature, is eliminated out and separate out through this one thing. Clear? So this all is collected here in the form of glomerular filtrate. You know that how finally it works. What is the quantity which separated out in the form of the glomerular filtrate? That is 190 liter. And what is the quantity of urine which excrete out? That is 1.5 to 1.8 liter. That means nearly 188.5 liter of this glomerular filtrate is reabsorbed during this process. Okay, so see that how nicely actually this selective reabsorption is performed there. Okay, so basically this PCT, this Henle's loop and this DCT, these three parts are in general responsible for this selective reabsorption. Okay, so here basically passive reabsorption takes place and here is the active reabsorption takes place. You know that passive means only with the help of force without any kind of involvement of the energy, but here to absorb the larger molecule, the salt molecule and some other substances which is in the less quantity can be performed by using the energy. So it is this active absorption is there. So you can see that glucose, then this one thing, the water, okay, and the other useful substances, they start to absorb in this one thing, and through this arterioles and venules they go through this one, clear. Then here this water is collected, and here this urine is called as hypotonic in nature because somewhat excessive water is there. Then you can see that this specific curve, this U shape, so in this descending one, the flow of this filtrate is quite greater than this one thing, okay. So when by taking this U-turn, when this fluid goes in the ascending arm, then it start to exert the pressure on the side wall of this ascending arm of the Henle's loop, which is responsible for dilation of this membranous aperture, who is responsible to absorb this larger molecule of salt and the bicarbonates and this one thing, as well as the sodium chloride ions is also there. So this is the selective reabsorption. So this one thing, the amino acid is reabsorbed, glucose, fructose and water, the minute salt, this all is actually again reabsorbed there only. Then finally the tubular secretion, clear. In this last part, that is the DCT, okay, the secretion of this waste material takes place, as well as the concentration of urine is also maintained through this one thing. That's why this portion is responsible for called as tubular secretion. The meaning is the secretion secreted by the tubule, that means this distal convoluted tubule is responsible to release out unwanted material which is absorbed there or which is in excess there, as well as the concentration of urine is also decided by this one thing. So the percentage of solute and the water is maintained here with the help of this one, okay. And then finally hypertonic unit is collected through this in the collecting duct, and it will carry out through this ureter this ureter to the urinary bladder, and it is collected there. So we can learn few features of this urine. This urine is basically pale yellow in color. It is because of its color pigment, that is the urochrome, okay. Urochrome as well as the urobilin is there, which is responsible to give this pale yellow color. The color is vary from light to dark on the basis of the concentration as well as the food which we consume there, okay. Its pH ranges for 4.5 to 8, and mainly it near about the 6.1. It is quite faint aromatic odor because of the urinoid. This urinoid is there, who is responsible to make it bad smelling in nature. The volume of urine is nearly ranges from 1.5 to 1.8 liter. You know that in the winter season and the rainy season, the volume of the urine is increases, and in the summer season it decreases only to maintain the osmotic pressure in this one thing. And this the process of releasing out through the urethra is called as micturition, okay. So remember, this is the process of urine formation. Now the next part, that is the osmoregulation, the second important function of the kidney, that is called as maintenance of the osmotic pressure. So that is called as osmoregulation. You know that the tubular secretion in the distal convoluted tubule is responsible to maintain this one thing, and it is performed by changing the permeability of the tubule, and this permeability of the membrane is maintained by one hormone which is secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, okay. And this hormone is ADH hormone, antidiuretic hormone, whose secretion is responsible to decide the permeability of the membrane, and it is responsible for absorption and secretion of this one thing, okay. So here in the two step we can learn this one thing. First one, that is during the increased osmotic pressure of the blood, that means when the blood becomes more concentrated in nature, the less water is in the body. So how can it be controlled? Just by decreasing the quantity of the volume of urine, by decreasing the elimination of the water in the form of the urine, okay. So what happened in this one, the increased osmotic pressure of the blood, which is perceived by the osmoreceptor, it is given to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus gives this info to pituitary gland, and pituitary gland is stimulated to release the antidiuretic hormone, that is the ADH. This ADH is responsible to rises the water permeability of DCT, which is responsible to absorb more and more water from the urine. It is responsible to decrease the volume of the urine, and this way the volume of the blood as well as the osmotic pressure of the blood bring to normal to the body. Just opposite, in the osmotic pressure become reduced, that means excessive deposition of the water is there. So in this one again, the reduced osmotic pressure of the blood, the osmoreceptors are depressed in the hypothalamus, they restrict the secretion from the pituitary gland, and this ADH hormone is become release less in nature. It is responsible to lose the permeability of the DCT, and the water is released out as it is, and it is responsible to increase the volume of the urine. So again, the volume of the blood is maintained through this one thing. So this is the osmoregulation, which is one of the most important function of the kidney. Okay, now then here we heard about it. Sometime what happened, there is partial or complete failure of the kidney, okay, which is responsible for accumulation of this nitrogenous waste material in the body, which may be toxic, and it sometimes their excessive deposition may become lethal for the person or that patient. So its elimination is performed with the help of the artificial process, okay, that is called as hemodialysis, okay, and that machine or that equipment is called as hemodialyzer, okay, and it is also considered the artificial kidney. So how it perform basically this hemodialysis? In this one, through the artery, this blood is bringing out, okay, and here it mixed with some anticoagulative substance, and then later on it reaches to the dialysis chamber. In this dialysis chamber, there are very fine membranous tubules are there, which is basically made of cellophane, okay, cellulose part of the leaf, okay, and it is surrounded by this hemodialytic fluid, okay. So this dialysis solution is circulating around it, and then on the basis of the diffusion, this dissolved waste solute is just separate out through this one, and then this purified blood is again re-entered in the body through the vein. So this is the process of dialysis by which the blood can be purified artificially. So that's why this one is called as the artificial kidney, okay, and the frequency of the dialysis is purely depends on the working or the condition working and the condition of the kidney and this one, okay. Now then we move forward. This is all about the excretion in the plants, animals. Now we are moving towards the excretion in the plants. So basically there is no any specific catabolic process is actually performed, okay, and that's why no any specific excretory organ is there, clear. So basically if you observe, then there are these 4 categories are there. One, that is the gaseous waste product. You know that oxygen and carbon dioxide is produced by the plant. So in the day hours, oxygen is released out, and in the night hours, absence of photosynthesis is responsible to carbon dioxide. And along with this one thing, this water vapor is also released out in the form of the transpiration through the aerial part of the plant, basically by the stomatas and the lenticels. Then second, the liquid waste products, okay. We know that there is the excess of moisture in the water, then this water is released out in the form of the water droplets through the tiny apertures which is present on the margins of the leaf, that is called as hydatodes, or it is called as the water stoma, okay. Now then not only this one thing, some essential oils are also there, just like that is the sandalwood oil, okay, olive oil. These are also the liquid waste products. Then the solid waste product, okay, just like this rennin, tannin, resin, these are actually deposited in the dead part of the plant, just like the bark, like the xylem vessels, tracheids, okay, as well as the dead leaves. So with the help of this one thing, they release out, okay. Not all the waste products from the plants are useless, but some important or useful plant waste are tannin. You know that it is helpful for curing of the leather. Essential oil like the sandalwood oil and the olive oil, we can use to make the food also, the gums, okay, which is used as an adhesive, resins which is used to coated over the tabletop and the wooden furniture, and the natural rubber which is helpful for the other purpose, for the vulcanization as well as for the erasing substance or the component. Okay, so this all about the excretory system and the excretion in animal and plants. So one thing which you learn, that because of less or no toxic or harmful substances in the plants, there is no any effective or specialized excretory organs are present in the plants, but that the special organs are present in the animal because of this toxic nitrogenous waste material. Okay, so finally I want to thank you for listening carefully. So please keep reading, keep studying. All the best.